You're watching the Gambia radio and television services broadcasting live from Banjul. I am Fatmata Sise and this is the news at 2000 hours in our top stories. Cementing peace-building efforts in the new Gambia, His Excellency President Adama Barrow meets party political leaders and community heads from the West Coast region. Farmers ask for more agricultural inputs to maximize yield amid a new cropping season, and this as the new Agriculture Minister embarks on his first nationwide tour. And attaining a youth-driven business sector, Empretech hones the skills of young entrepreneurs. New Youth and Sports Minister Hadrame Sidibe promises a new chapter in Gambian sports. Elsewhere in Uganda, a plan for members of parliament, armored vehicles and security detail sparks public anger. Plus, Congolese President Joseph Kabila puts off a planned visit by UN Secretary General Antonio Grts. These plus many more stories coming ahead. Do stay with us. Welcome to the news, and we begin this bulletin with the Minister of Agriculture, Lamin Diba, who continues his nationwide tour visiting agricultural centers as well as farmers across the country. And the tour, as we hear in this report by Sisi Sawane, emphasized the need for farmers to strengthen their capacity in both crop and livestock production.
Farmers in the livestock sector have decried the lack of proper grazing land and road networks for their cattle. This, they say, has affected their productivity in rearing cattle, making it difficult to maximize production. In the Upper River region, where farmers are mainly engaged in both crop and livestock production, less people are venturing into livestock production due to inadequate farming inputs. Zida Danso from Sandu Misra in the Upper River region disclosed that the absence of medicine and timely vaccination for their cattle remains a major challenge. She pleaded to the Livestock Directorate to look into the issue. URR's Livestock Director Sanjali Conte urged the ministry to increase focus on animal husbandry and poultry farming as viable areas that can strengthen farming in the region. The tour party also visited the Kabakama Sheep Fattening Scheme owned by a youth group dubbed Kairaba Youth Association. According to the group's vice chairperson, Babukar Sidibe, the venture will minimize unemployment and serve as a catalyst to lessen the burden and dependency.
It is, of course, a very big opportunity for a youth group like us to be able to have a project like this. And sustainability is never a problem. Because if you see our poultry, I can say almost now 2, 3, 4 years now since we started. And if we are talking about disadvantages, you understand, alhamdulillah, we are minimizing them. And sustainability, it has been our priority. Because since we got it until now, the business is flowing, and we are also serving the community, selling it to the people at least at a low cost.
From URR, the minister and delegation visited the Regional Livestock Center in Yerabelikunda, CRR South, where a livestock drinking hub was funded by NEMA to assist cattle farmers access clean drinking water. Officials at the center outlined bushfires as a major challenge confronting herdsmen in the area. They call on the Agriculture Ministry to work closely with the Forestry Department to arrest the situation. Similar meetings were also held in Sapo and Bureng, where livestock farmers requested for adequate farming inputs and equipment to make the livestock sector more vibrant. The Deputy Director General of Livestock Services, Sen, advised farmers venture into beekeeping, which ensures that 1/3 of food production is pollinated by insects and more especially pollen bees. He urged farmers to consider beekeeping in their horticultural scheme. Describing agriculture as a top priority for government in its socio-economic development plan, Agriculture Minister Lamin Ndiba highlighted the livestock production as an important mechanism to boost the agricultural sector.
My minister's priority is to provide what the farmers need and in time. My minister's priority is to provide all relevant information to farming. My minister's priority is to ensure that facilities and amenities are provided for the farming community with regards to agricultural production.
The Tour Party held its final meetings at the Regional Agricultural Directorate in Jinoy and Kanungu Women's Garden. For the news, I am Sisi Sawane. Farmers in the livestock sector have decried.
Gambia came together at the Independence Stadium this morning to celebrate ECOWAS Day, and this is aimed at highlighting the objectives of the West African Bloc, and the event was premised on current efforts moving from ECOWAS of nations to an ECOWAS of people. And now, in fulfillment of a constitutional requirement, His Excellency President Adama Barrow will embark on a 10-day nationwide tour to dialogue with the public on a variety of pertinent issues. A news release from the presidency says the tour will begin on Monday, July 16th and end on Wednesday, July 25th. The president will chair 44 general meetings as well as conduct sport visits throughout the country. And the Gambian leader will use the opportunity to connect and engage firsthand with members of the public on the government's development blueprint, that is the National Development Plan. And as the rains have begun, agricultural programs geared towards food security and targeted exports will be discussed with farmers, and it would allow the president to also listen to farmers and learn about issues impacting on crop production and animal husbandry. He will also re-echo his call for social cohesion and unity in the pursuit of peace, security and socio-economic development. For the first part of the tour, the presidential delegation will hold meetings in the North Bank region and Central River region North, while the rest of 1 week, week 1, will be spent in the Upper River region. And over the weekend, the delegation will stop in parts of CRR South and the Lower River region. The final leg of the tour will take place in the Greater Banjul area with a mega meeting in the capital city of Banjul. The presidential delegation will depart Banjul at 9:30 a.m. on Monday, and all those accompanying the delegation are expected to cross over to the North Bank at least an hour before the president's departure. Elsewhere, Empretech the Gambia has concluded its entrepreneurship training program for the 44th batch of participants, and according to organizers, trainees went through a 4-week-long intensive courses, which is expected to enhance their business and entrepreneurship skills to enhance and manage their own businesses. Ibrahim Cham tells us more.
For 4 weeks, Models on Business and Entrepreneurship was the main drive of the transformation process for the would-be business moguls. Ways of gaining information and maximizing potentials were thought by the trainers in order to prepare them for what the lecturers labeled as the rebirth of their target businesses. Amongst the speakers was veteran investor Abdoulaye Toure, CEO of Sahel Investment. He urged the participants to pursue the factors of production, which was to learn labor, capital, and entrepreneurship.
It is a question of you not seeing obstacles but seeing opportunities. It is a question of you being proactive. If you don't control your agenda, somebody else is going to control that agenda for you.
The CEO of American Chambers of Commerce, Samba Fall, told the gathering that there are immense opportunities available for business to tap into in the vast American markets.
Over the years, AmCham have been organizing trade investments forums in the U.S. and also making sure that Gambians have access to the American market by taking delegations to attend trade fairs, expos.
The director of Empretech Zimbabwe, Busi Bango, stated that it might be the end of the workshop, the beginning of a journey for the participants, whom she urged to utilize the habits taught during the sessions.
Put in place and utilize these behaviors that you were taught during the last 6 days. and make use of them. That's why when we started, I emphasized the point that you are here to form positive habits of entrepreneurship. So make them, they should actually be your life. They should be what you do on a daily basis. They become your second nature.
Presentation of prizes were done for the most outstanding participants in various models, followed by the presentation of the certificates. Speaking to trainees, Seiko Omar Jallo and Defatu Jabang both shed light on how much impact the workshop will have on their aspiring endeavors.
Like I had the basic foundation of how to set up a business, how to search out for information for whatever you need to set up and everything you need.
There are a lot of things that I didn't know as an entrepreneur when I just started my business, but they've showed me, they've given me guidelines, they've showed me everything that I need to know to start up my business and also expand my business, and also the way I can persuade and network. There's a lot of things. They have a very great...
For Grts News, I'm Ibrahim Chan. For 4 weeks, models on...
The President, His Excellency Adama Barrow, is cementing peace-building efforts, and we said that the President is holding a meeting, or has held a meeting with political party leaders in the West Coast region. And for more on that, we are now joined in the studio by the Director of Press and Public Relations at the Office of the President, Ami Bojang Sissoho. Good evening, Madam Bojang Sissoho. Welcome to the news.
Thank you very much, Fatu.
Yes, like we just mentioned, the President is holding or has held meetings with head of political party leaders in the West Coast region. Who are these political party leaders and which parties are they representing?
The whole day, the President actually spent the whole day having meetings with a series of groups of people, starting from a group called Al Jama. They said they are Jolas in the West Coast region and Fonyi. And then he had another meeting with a group of the people who are some of their national representatives of the executive members of the APRC party. And the last meeting just held, we just concluded that meeting, was with the former governors and former MPs who were elected under the APRC ticket. So these are the people who came to show their allegiance and to inform the President that they want to formally and openly declare their allegiance to him, to support him and his policies towards development of the country. And they also discussed with him how they want peace and stability in the country, to sustain that through dialogue and discussion and engaging their own people, and they want to be part of the development of this country. And they have also indicated that as citizens, they have been supporting the APRC party, and now they have accepted the verdict of the Gambian people that President Barrow is the leader, and they are showing that they said that they are not positioned to a government, and they have not been opposition to government. Every government that comes into power, they support you, and this is what they came to declare to the President.
Yes, I want to get this clear. Are they ordinary citizens, or they're from a particular political party?
Almost everybody that came there were from APRC party, and they are ordinary citizens, because some are farmers, but you have the prominent ones also, like the former National Assembly members, former governors. They've been there. And
who are some of these former governors who went?
I can recall immediately people like Omar Khan, he was there. The former governor of North Bank, Queen Jammeh. Development at the back of his agenda, and this is why he encouraged them to ensure that they follow that line of discussion in what the tour is a very important thing, as you've already indicated. Yes. In the press release, but it is also important for Gambians to understand what the presidential tour is all about. It's about making sure that the president understands what are development needs of the people. Coalition president, he didn't come from any party, but Then he had another meeting with a group of the people who are some of their national representatives of the executive members of the APRC party. And the last meeting just held, right, we just concluded that.
Like I had the basic foundation of how to set up a business, how to search out for information for whatever you need to set up and everything you need.
There are a lot of things that I didn't know as an entrepreneur when I just started my business, but they've showed me, they've given me guidelines, they've shown me everything that I need to know to start up my business and also expand my business, and also the way I can persuade and network. There's a lot of things. They have a very great...
For Grts News, I'm Ibrahim Chan. For 4 weeks, models on...
Mentioned the President, His Excellency Adama Barrow, is cementing peace-building efforts, and we said that the President is holding a meeting, or has held a meeting with political party leaders in the West Coast region. And for more on that, we are now joined in the studio by the Director of Press and Public Relations at the Office of the President, Ami Bojan Sissoho. Good evening, Madam Bojan Sissoho. Welcome to the news.
Thank you very much, Fatu.
Yes, like we just mentioned, the President is holding, or has held meetings with head of political party leaders in the West Coast region. Who are these political party leaders, and which parties are they representing?
The whole day, the President actually spent the whole day having meetings with a series of groups of people, starting from a group called Al Jama. They said they are Jolas in the West Coast region, and Fonyi. And then he had another meeting with a group of the people who are some of their national representatives of the executive members of the APRC party. And the last meeting just held, right, we just concluded that meeting, was with the former governors and former MPs who were elected under the APRC ticket. So these are the people who came to show their allegiance and to inform the President that they want to formally and openly declare their allegiance to him, to support him and his policies towards development of the country. And they also discussed with him how they want peace and stability in the country, to sustain that through dialogue and discussion and engaging their own people, and they want to be part of the development of this country. And they have also indicated that as citizens, they have been supporting the APRC party, and now they have accepted the verdict of the Gambian people that President Barrow is the leader, and they are showing that they said that they are not positioned to a government, and they have not been opposition to government. Every government that comes into power, they support you, and this is what they came to declare to the President.
Yes, I want to get this clear. Are they ordinary citizens, or they're from a particular political party?
They are, almost everybody that came there were from APRC party. And they are ordinary citizens, because some are farmers, but you have the prominent ones also, like the former National Assembly members, former governors. They've been there. And
who are some of these former governors who went to
I can recall immediately people like Governor Khan, Omar Khan, he was there. The former governor of North Bank, Queen Jammeh, they were there. You had the former MPs, and they were led by Honorable Suku Singate. You had Honorable Ndeye Nyangjai and others. A lot of them were there, and they all came to emphasize that what they want is to demonstrate their allegiance to the President and his development agenda for the Gambia.
Have they been telling the President what kept them so long before they could declare their allegiance to the President?
Actually, they had, what they said at the meeting was that since the President won the elections, they immediately declared that they were going to follow him. And what they were doing is actually, in the behind the scenes, they have been supporting the government and the party they identified to say they were supporting was the United Democratic Party. They said they have been supporting the party because they feel that President is coalition president. He didn't come from any party, but when they trace the origin of the party he supported was UDP. But they say at this point in time, what they're doing is to support the president and his development agenda. And until the time that a party is declared where the president will say, this is my party, then they will decide what to do. But for now, they want to support him and the government and the development agenda of the country.
What has been the president's message to them?
He called them to continue to unite, and he said they are Gambians, they are citizens, and they should all work together to what will bring peace and stability and unite them as citizens of this country. And he also encouraged and welcomed them that the reason why they are leading is because they are leading. People want them to lead, to be able to impact a particular change that will have development at the back of its agenda. And this is why he encouraged them to ensure that they follow that line of discussion in whatever they are doing to promote peace. And they also came with that information that they want to promote peace and development.
Yes, let me go back to the meeting itself. These people, I understand, they pledge allegiance to the president to support his development initiatives. Did they raise any concerns or issues that are affecting them in their various regions?
Actually, they said since the change of government, they decided to come together. They continued their connection, their networking, they are engaging each other to say that we have been leading the people. And the message we have been sending the people we have been leading is that we should accept the verdict of the people when they choose a leader, and that has happened. So if the leadership has changed, it's still the verdict of the same Gambian people. Therefore, they will continue to promote and support that.
All right. The president is set to embark on a tour, and it's commencing on Monday. And what more can you tell us? We just read a press release here, but what more can you tell us with regards to the tour?
The tour is a very important thing, as you've already indicated in the press release. But it is also important for Gambians to understand what the presidential tour is all about. It's about making sure that the president understands what are development needs of the people, what are their urgent issues, how the president and his policies and programs can support the development and change of those needs. And also, it is an opportunity. You cannot divorce it from politics. That is the norm that has been here. But people have to understand that this tour was not meant to be partisan politics. It's meant to, it's for development politics, and it's a constitutional requirement. There, where government, the president is entrusted with this mandate to go out and talk to the people, listen to them, communicate with them, dialogue with them, engage with them, and make a connection so that the development programs of this country are something that the people will feel with them.
Director of Press and Public Relations at the Office of the President, Bojan Siso, thank you very much for taking time to talk to us on this news hour.
And thank you for having me.
All right, that was the Director of Press and Public Relations at the Office of the President, Bojan Siso, speaking to us live on this news. And moving on, residents of Bakau Newtown Saturday converged at the Independence Stadium for a cleansing exercise. And the convergence was spearheaded by Town Ward Councillor Binta Jame. Janki Ture tells us more.
The volunteers turn out in their large numbers to remove waste in drainages around the Independence Stadium in Bakau. The exercise also includes clearing of grasses. Speaking during the exercise, Newtown Ward Councillor Binta Jame said the exercise is part of her action plans to make Bakau a clean and healthy environment. Jane, who further stated that the place was turned into a dump site, called on residents to desist from such improper activities. Alhaji Basiru Gassama, a native of Bakau, equally calls for attitudinal change towards the dumping of waste in the streets.
If you check the gathering, you see the woman and the lady councillor was here first. I was here with her here first. But I didn't see the turn-up, but the turn-up is good. This is a sample, because even the Prime Minister should have joined us but they are on a mission.
Encouraging Binta for the initiative, a resident of the area, Ndenja, explains that they annually conduct such exercise to keep the environment clean. The Director of Service at Kanifi Municipal Council, Lamin S. Sanyang, assured of the council's support in rendering cleansing and other activities.
We at the council, our main mandate is to deliver services to the residents of the municipality. So whoever comes up with this brilliant idea, our work there is to facilitate, to support you with the resources so that you can be able to do the exercise perfectly.
Others, among them Kadimane, a native of Bakau, Lamin Sise, coordinator of Newtown Youth Committee, highlighted their preparedness to take part in developing the country. Reporting for GRTS News, I am Jackie Tourist.
The National Enterprise Initiative has successfully completed a week-long training exercise for youth on entrepreneurship development at the Rural Development Institute in Mansakonko. The aim of the training is to equip youth with requisite knowledge in entrepreneurship and business development. Famara Kanyi has the details.
21 participants have completed a week training on entrepreneurship development, courtesy of the National Enterprise Development Initiative. The participants were drawn from all regions across the country. For some youths who have completed the training course, it is a start of a journey which will accord them the opportunity to venture into their own businesses.
I thank God for completing this training, which will contribute, especially in my area in Bansa, because people are not aware that with the knowledge that we have in fashion designing, we can create our own fashions without, in fact, involving these European people into our own country.
From this stage, I can go home and then sit down, think of a particular business that I want to venture into, and then make sure that all the rules and regulations plus the principles of this business planning are followed up to the maximum to ensure that whatever I am doing, I make sure that I take the right step and then succeed eventually.
At the closing ceremony, Abbas Bah, the general manager of NEDI, highlighted the stance his institution is taking in promoting the welfare of young people in the Gambia. The youths, he went on, are very crucial in the development process of any nation, and the Gambia government is ready to provide them the platform to explore their potentials.
The financial resources to ensure that your training will be massively beneficiary to you. Keep knocking at our doors, and then you will never regret, because this is what we are there for. Without you, we cannot be there. It is you, that's why we are there. And NEDI is out to ensure that the Gambian people, women and youth, take the lead in business. And it is only by them that we can lead this country away from the difficulties that we are facing now.
For her part, the governor of the Lower River region, Madam Fanta Bojang Samademane, advised the outgoing batch to effectively utilize the knowledge learned to improve their livelihoods.
Many are called, but few are chosen. You are the chosen few, so share this knowledge with the rest of your colleagues out there so that they will equally benefit from what you learn here.
This training program is designed by NEDI to empower young people in the country to effectively contribute their quota to national development. Reporting for GRTS News, I am Famara Kanyi.
An African journalist on a media fellowship program in China visited the city of Shenzhen, one of the cities identified under the 1978 Special Economic Zone, a program by the Chinese government. The initiative, as we hear in this report by our China correspondent Sally Jaju, is aimed at promoting the country's reform and opening up policy.
This is their latest visit to provincial China as they continue on their 10-month media fellowship program in the People's Republic of China. The visit of African media fellows to Shenzhen and other cities in Guangdong province, southern China, was to learn more about the history and the development strides taken by government of the People's Republic of China in transforming this city into a special economic zone. Shenzhen city grew rapidly and is now a major international gateway that has attracted world attention.
In the past 38 years, tremendous changes have taken place in our municipality, and we have achieved rapid economic growth. So last year, the total GDP of the city accounted for $332 billion US.
The mayor of St. James City explained that the city's development began when China was going through its most difficult moments of economic growth. The city can now boast of the most highly modernized infrastructural designs with the largest number of ports and cross-border flow of passengers and vehicles.
Shenzhen, in the past 3 decades, has created 6 big companies on the list of Fortune Global 500. In the past 3 decades, we have established 4 major pillar industries.
Shenzhen is also the home of China's high-tech and manufacturing industries and is ranked as China's security exchange and global market center.
So, according to the World Intellectual Property Organization statistic this last year, Shenzhen has more PCT applications than the big countries like Germany, France, and Great Britain.
Hosting more than 10,000 cultural exhibitions and performances annually, St. James City is another favorable touristic destination. Reporting from St. James City in southern province of China for GRTS News, I am Sally Jaju.
And that takes us to a break. We'll be back with news and sports right after. To stay with us.
Not now. I promised to buy cash power today.
Stop complaining and use your officer line to get us cash power.
My officer line? Officer?
Oh yes! With your officer line. To buy your cash power, simply dial *777# to access your officer money account and choose Buy Cash Power. Register your MT number, enter the amount of cash power you want to buy, and then enter your officer money PIN code to confirm your transaction.
But how can I refill my officer money account?
You can top up your officer money account with no extra charges from any officer outlet near you, or simply at any shop or bank where you see a sign that says officer money available here. Buy your cash power now straight from your officer money account at the cheapest cost ever. That's 50% less than the fees of other operators. A price nobody dares to match. Where AfriCell go?
Welcome back. Let's take a look at news and sports, because the new Youth and Sports Minister says he has plans to transform the country's sports and sector. And Hadrame Sidibe was speaking to GRTS Sports and MS Jallo in an exclusive interview at his office. Let's take a listen.
Sports has a new minister. He is Hadrame Sidibe. But until his recent appointment, little is known about this man, despite the fact that he's played football at some part in his life with Walida. But the main question now is, what is the new minister going to bring into the country's sports that has been struggling with a lot of issues over the past years? What are your plans for Gambian sports?
Yeah, my plans are to take it where my predecessor left. All these satellite institutions under me, I met them casually, and I want to support them to complete their programs. And all those programs are geared toward the possible, standing of the Gambia, the position in the world ranking in the first place. And the other side, you have the Women's League. I also encourage them. I want to make sure that they are also recognized. And hold the school system, trying to revive the primary school sports and so forth. So all the issues highlighted the time of my predecessor, I'm trying to go over them. Yes, we cannot do everything in 1 year, but by the time I conclude, there would be a list of priorities. And for this year, we'll do that, this year we'll do that.
What is going to be your priority areas?
I don't want to leave because, okay, top priority will be football, soccer, and then you have sports, athletics, which are areas that definitely they interest me. And then the other domestic games, cricket, you have basketball. We need to revive them. Yeah.
Do you have like short-term plans, medium-term plans, and long-term plans for the ministry?
Yes, I have it. I have, let's say, the short-term one is now to make sure those structures that are built by the GFA, the way in their 4-year development plan, the main structures is that is the immediate one, make sure it is developed. Of course, there should be, because we have a program director who deals with those issues. As I said, I met them casually, and they should come up with all those strategies they have in place. So that is where I will take off. But I know they have, because they have a plan.
You have not yet seen it?
No. Just casually, we discussed yesterday, we had a meeting. So I tasked them to come up with those plans.
That's the Youth and Sports Minister, City Bay, speaking there to Modu S. Jallo. Now takes us to a break. When we come back, the news continues right after.
This must be one of Mother Nature's greatest gifts. But there's something else it gives us. When we see such beauty, we want to share it with those we love. That's why we want you to see it, just as we see it now. LG OLED TV.
Welcome back, and let's head straight to Uganda, because a plan there to offer members of parliament armored vehicles and security detail has sparked public anger. And the move comes in the wake of an attack against one of the country's lawmakers, and CGTN's Isabel Nakir reports from Kampala.
A new proposal in Uganda hopes to prevent scenes like these. The recent killing of Ugandan MP Ibrahim Abiriga by men riding on motorcycles in June triggered fear among fellow lawmakers and prompted a call for more security by the country's president, Yoweri Museveni. Abiriga was instrumental in the removal of the presidential term limits, a possible cause for his death.
I think members of parliament, just like any other member of society, need security. But there are also those who are more vulnerable than others. I think members of parliament in this case are more vulnerable than any other person. And I think it's a well thought out idea that maybe if they could secure their security as much as they possibly can afford it.
Now Uganda's president has ordered the purchase of bulletproof vehicles. They will come along with armed personnel for members of parliament. But President Museveni's order is already being viewed as inappropriate.
All that junk of money that they think they should use for buying vehicles to MPs, they should use it to beef security, police and army, so that we don't have this kind of things, so that all Ugandans are secured.
The cost of the armored vehicles has not been published, but the Ministry of Finance says it will advise the president on whether the procurement is possible.
It's not clear when the vehicles will be bought or whether all MPs will be entitled to them. Mr. Museveni has also not mentioned whether such vehicles will be purchased for other government officials in the near future.
Opposition members of parliament say it's a wasteful expenditure.
An armored vehicle goes between 200,000 to 250,000 US dollars. In Ugandan shillings, that's about almost between 750 million to 1 billion shillings. So you can imagine. And that's for one member of parliament. So how about over 400? Then how about maintaining this vehicle? How about its fuel, its driver, and the sharpshooters they have to maintain? So I think I just lost. And they could do better, deal with the challenges, the cause. Why do we have insecurity in this country? What's happening?
In his recent address to the nation about the wave of insecurity in the country, Mr. Museveni promised to deal with the problem head-on. It's believed this is one of the methods that the president once employed to curb a wave of murders against public officials and others. About 4 government officials, including over a dozen Muslim clerics, were assassinated. The murders of high-profile government officials and Muslim clerics in Uganda began as early as 2014. Isabel Nakiria, CGTN, Kampala.
We'll take you to South Africa now because the country's Deputy President, David Mabuza, has officially launched the 64-dish Mercat array, a significant milestone in radio astronomy in Carnarvon in the Northern Cape. The Mercat is the world's largest radio telescope of its kind until the square-kilometer array has been completed. CGTN's Angelo Coppola was there and now tells us more.
The team responsible for the Meerkat project consisted mostly of South Africans, including members of the communities in the area. Some $230 million was spent on the various elements.
They built a telescope that is the best of its kind in the world. They made an image of the very center, core of our Milky Way galaxy, 30,000 light years. They've made the clearest, sharpest image ever made by anyone on Earth.
This is a very significant project that sets the country on a path towards development. Well, it's not South Africa alone that would benefit. All the countries that came together to contribute are going to benefit.
The Meerkat and SKA project is a continent-wide initiative. It involves 8 African countries and covers anything from creating a new telescope in Ghana to establishing training telescopes in others. There's also a strong educational component.
We already graduated quite a number of PhDs that have gone back to their countries. Many of them initiated the discipline of astronomy in their own universities, which was not the case before.
The Meerkat project is a precursor to the first phase of the actual SKA project, which will see another 133 dishes or radio telescopes developed, built and erected in the Northern Cape. It's going to be funded by Canada, China, India, Italy, New Zealand, Spain, Sweden, the Netherlands, and the United Kingdom.
The infrastructure phase of the SKA1 should begin, I believe, let's in about a year to 2 years' time.
The Meerkat program is a massive achievement, which will pale when compared to SKA Phase 1, which will consist of 133 dishes or antenna.
That one will have, by the way, antennas here in the Karoo that are spaced out to 120 or 100, maybe even 50 kilometers, rather than just the 8 kilometers. So yeah, it is 3 times, 4 times as many antennas altogether, dishes, but spread over much longer distances.
While this is a major milestone, it's the first of many steps into a better understanding of the universe in which we live and what's been happening over hundreds and millions of years. I'm Angelo Coppola for CGTN in Carnarvon in the Northern Cape.
And that brings an end to this edition of Is It It? But before we go, a recap of the top stories once again. Cementing peace-building efforts in New Gambia. His Excellency President Barrow meets party political leaders and community heads from the West Coast region. And farmers have asked government for more agricultural inputs to maximize yield amid a new cropping season. And this is the new agriculture minister embarks on his first nationwide tour. Attaining a youth-driven business sector, Empatech has honed the skills of young entrepreneurs. A new youth and sports minister, Hadrami Sidibe, has promised a new chapter in Gambian sports. Elsewhere in Uganda, a plan to offer members of parliament armored vehicles and security detail has sparked public anger. Plus, Congolese President Joseph Kabila has put off a planned visit by UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres. That's the news at 8 with me, Fatmata Sisay. I'll be back in the studio at 2200 hours with more news. Until then, keep watching GRTS.
I am T Smalls and I'm in Serakunda right now. I use the AfroCell 4G because it has the widest coverage and the fastest speed. I'm going to tell you why I use AfroCell overall. Now this is my phone with a real